Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the fearful avoidant attachment style individual and burnout. So I'm just going to dive right into it. But basically, I just got off a podcast with somebody earlier this morning. And they really brought up the topic and asked a lot of questions about this idea of like being burnt out and why so many people get burnt out nowadays and what's going on and why people don't have enough time and all these different things. And I was thinking, oh, this is so interesting because it really touches on so many different features for different attachment styles. And fearful avoidance versus dismissive avoidance versus anxious preoccupied individuals all tend to be burnt out for different patterns of reasons. So what we're going to talk about in this specific video is fearful avoidance and some of the patterns of reason. So we're going to do a deep dive in a lot of this stuff. I'm going to start and I'll recommend some like different ideas for places you can like sort of investigate further if this is a big problem for you. I know that for FAs, it can be probably the attachment style that's most affected by this out of everybody. And these are the major patterns as to why. So number one, I was discussing on this podcast, this idea of like, oh, never enough time. We never have enough time. Time itself, when people are saying that, is neutral. It's what people feel like they never have enough time for, what they need to be doing instead. So for example, it's sort of a silly analogy, but it's like if you had 10 days in the week instead of 7 days in the week, but all 10 days of the week, you weren't allowed to do anything that you liked. You could only do things that you strongly disliked or even hated doing. You're going to be like, give me the 7 days of the week where I can do some of what I like, because then I can use my time for the things that I want to be doing, the things that I do enjoy. So if you imagine, it's not the extra 3 days in the week for those of you who are always saying, oh, I never have enough time. It's actually that there's specific needs you're not getting met within the amount of time you're trying to use. And so when we can take a look at that, we can start investigating some of those underlying patterns. So for a lot of fearful avoidance, like let's just say, for example, some of the patterning we'll see is people pleasing, which usually means that you and your needs are last on the totem pole. A lack of emotional boundaries, which means you're usually really taking on like people's stressors around you, like what they're feeling, worrying about them, what they're needing, all those sorts of things. And so just in those two patterns of and of itself, and there's a lot more in here, but just in those two first patterns, you can already see this idea starting to take shape, which is that the fearful avoidant attachment style, if you're putting yourself last, it means your needs are last, which means that you're going to feel like you're in lack or in starvation mode around your needs being met, which means that will then translate into you feeling like you're having a shortage of time because you're not finishing all your people pleasing and emotional boundaries enough to be able to get down the totem pole to where you've placed yourself at a subconscious level, which may be as a fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth priority in your life. Like you might say, okay, children first, marital partner second, work third, other family members fourth, friendships fifth, stuff around the house sixth, and then you keep going and all of a sudden there you are at like ninth place and you're not being able in the amount of time you have each week to get those needs met for you for where you've positioned yourself on the totem pole. So that can be a huge reason. Another big piece here is because you often put yourself last, sometimes you'll be saying yes to things that are actually out of alignment with yourself. So much of yourself has to do with your personality needs. We all have these subconscious drivers that our subconscious mind tends to identify as our sense of self at a subconscious level. And when we're not aware of these things, it's very hard to fulfill them. And it makes, honestly, for life to be much more disempowering and difficult because it's sort of like we are trying at a conscious level to navigate our lives when we may have these really big subconscious needs that are waiting to be filled. But if we don't even know that those are our needs, then we don't even have the roadmap to be able to fulfill them. If you want to do a deeper dive into that specifically, the Discover, Embrace, and Fulfill Your Personal Needs course is huge. And if you're struggling with burnout, the Boundaries course is super important, as well as the Codependency and Enmeshment course. This stuff will all do like a super tremendously deep dive into all of this with workbooks and exercises and specific steps you need to take to really reprogram these patterns. Now, Another big thing here is taking on too much, right? A lot of fearful avoidants have an unworthiness core wound. So they will overcompensate at a subconscious level by trying to take on too much to earn their worth in the world. Not to be, special in some way and get attention, but actually just to feel like they're okay, to be included, to be loved. Because a lot of their subconscious programming tends to be around earning their worth. And then the last thing I'll say here too is there sometimes tends to be this like feeling of undeservingness or unwillingness to receive because of the fear of being a burden. So all of these things are really putting you like out of alignment with your own needs, like giving to others but not receiving back. You're at a deficit. People pleasing, which means not taking your own feelings and needs into consideration, or taking them much less into consideration because over prioritizing other people at the expense of self. So your needs are not being, filled there either. Emotional boundaries lacking, that's a burnout factor or cause. And then saying yes to things out of alignment with self. All these different things are just like creating these big subconscious patterns for burnout. And until those belief patterns are reprogrammed so that you can feel that you are deserving, that you are worthy, that you don't have to overcompensate, that you're allowed to receive back so that your needs can be considered as well, ending the people pleasing so you treat yourself equally to others, all those different things will actually start to give you life energy back. And then it may not be that you need those extra 2, 3, 4 days in a week. It may be that you need to use your time in a way that also takes yourself and your own desires and needs into consideration. So hopefully this makes a whole lot of sense. It's a pretty intense topic, but let me know if you want to see more videos about this stuff and strategies and how to do a deeper dive into some of this stuff. It's an amazing piece of information and important focus for a lot of fearful avoidance. And again, if you want to do that deeper dive as well more immediately, check out the codependency and enmeshment course, the boundaries course, and check out, what was the other one? Oh, discover, embrace, and fulfill your personal needs course. Hopefully this was very helpful. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.